Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. And welcome back to the Lojong teaching session. So, as usual, cultivate a sincere refuge in Guru Buddha Dharma Sangha and generate correct motivation of bodhicitta. Then take a few moments, come together and dedicate some of this practice of recitation of some powerful mantras, dedicating for the peace and happiness of all sentient beings, peace and happiness of the people in the world, and in particularly to dedicate to those who need, our prayer supports, those who submitted their names, or to whom that we know that they need our kindness, compassion, and dedication of merits for their fulfillment of all their wishes, happiness. So for that purpose, so we do this practice together. Sanje Jodan Zoye Jonan La Janju Badu Dani Jazunje Daji Jinzo Jebe Sonamji Dola Benje Sanje Dubarai Jo Sanje Jodan Zoye Jonan La Janju Badu Dani Jazun Daji Jinzo Jebe Sonamji Dola Benje Sanje Dubarai Jo Sanje Jodan Zoye Jonan La Janju Badu Dani Jazunje Daji Jinzo Jebe Sonamji Dola benje sanje do barai yo gange do zene zone dawa damje bambe jere dambe jene denje be godam de la cha se lo tonye ninje sondo jo be la ma zeje zenje ganje dende ge chana be mo denje ja zo la zo wa de zo da ye jinje lo semje damje dewa dan dewe judan dembra juje semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga me be dewa dan mi dawa juje semje damje nyire jatan nyidan da tanyo la ne bara juru je semje damje dewa dan dewe judan dembra juje semje damje dunga dan dunga je judan dawa juje semje damje dunga me be dewa dan mi dawa juje zo ha taya da muni muni ma muni zo Daya dao muni muni ma muni ye zo ha daya dao muni muni ma muni ye zo ha daya dao muni muni ma muni ye zo daya dao muni muni ma muni ye zo ha daya dao mon gade gade para gade para sam gade buddhi ye zo daya dao mon gade gade para sam gade buddhi ye zo ha daya dao mon gade gade para gade para samgade buddhi yeso dayada omonga dega de paranga de para samgade buddhi yeso ha dayada omonga dega de paranga de para samgade buddhi yeso dayada omonga dega de paranga de para samgade yeso ha dayada omonga dega de paranga de para samgade buddhi yeso ha omo benzaran guru pe mazede Omo ahon benzaram guru be mazede. 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 Mime zeve derjen chereze, teme jembe ombo jambe yang, debo male jomze samve da, ganje jembe zujen zonga ba, losan tabi shala sovande. Mime zeve derjen chereze, teme jembe ombo jambe yang, debo male jomze samve da. Kanje jembe zuje zonga ba lo san da be sha la zo wan de ming me ze we de je je re ze de me jembe on bo jembe yang de bo ma le jum zen san yen da kanje jembe zuje zonga ba lo san da be sha la zo wan ming me ze we de je re ze de me jembe on bo jembe yang de bo ma le jum zen san yen da kanje jembe zuje zonga ba lo san da be sha la zo wan de ming me ze we de je re ze de me jembe on bo jembe Tebo male janse samye da ganchi jembe tsuji zonga ba lo san tabi shan lo zo wande mingme tsewe terje chere se teme jembe ombo jembe yang tebo male janse samye da ganchi jembe tsuji zonga ba lo san tabi shan lo zo wande Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum. Om dare du dare du re zo ha, Om dare du dare du re zo ha. Om dare du dare du re zo ha, Om dare du dare du re zo ha. Om dare du dare du re zo ha, Om dare du dare du re zo ha. Omo dare du dare du re zo ha, 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 omo dare du dare du re zo. Omo dare du dare du re zo ha, omo dare du dare du re zo ha. Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade zo Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade zo Tayada om beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade zo Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade zo Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade so. Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade so. Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade so. Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade so. Tayada omo beganze beganze ma beganze beganze ranza samo gade so. Om mare zema zo, 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 om mare zema zo. La zambe de ni geme zejundu de bana mujinje. Chaja jungwe jenze do dojo mejo yansa so semde semele jungwe jiba kule nyudo kyabdo so dewa de nyudo ta waze chema dojo ne dowa chi jama le de zala gobra jo pama semje tamje denda denjur je ngendo tamje ta do do ta chanjo semba gana su jo ba de ta kunji mala dojo semje ne ba jenye ba nyudo ne le ta jo je Dewen male ba da do jo ame barai jo jambe ba we jidra chen ba dang kundo zambo den yan de chen je de da kunje je so da lo jawa de da dam je rab do ngo de so je be jawa dam je de ngo wa ga lo jo do ngo ba ta je je be za wa de gwen jang zambo je rab do ngo barai je be dan zo wa mi ge be yi je no bo ba sam je sem je re wa kun je Samba Chui Xin Rube Da Ji Zhu. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, so um, so if you are using the same text, the great collection of Lojong treatise, Then we are on page 187. We are still studying the mind training teaching attribute to Serlingpa, title Stages of the Heroic Mind. And we are on the last chapter. There's a fourth chapter. We are on the last chapter. And today we will continue from verse 61. So it says like this. So, so however you act, you seek pain and sufferings. Whatever you do, you lost your real purpose. This is so because excessive self-grasping lies at the root. This is so because inadequate forbearances and courage. So true. mm, uh, it can relate to our day-to-day life. Mm, in how to say uh, mm, in in just different different scenario, but but very much in all in the form of samsaric experiences. However, we act. We very much kind of seeking pain and suffering. Due to our uh, delusion. Yeah, due to our delusion, due to our ignorance. Mm. Mm. Even in the case of practicing Dharma, it is so hard uh, that the Dharma practice, Dharma learning, Dharma contemplation, Dharma meditation, to be a genuine and pure Dharma practice, genuine and pure practice of path to absolute liberation from uh, pain, like suffering of change, uh, and the general, the samsaric suffering or pervasive suffering. Uh, uh, then no question about other activities that we do, other time that when we are not associated with the Dharma, such as Dharma learning, the meditations, very much our minds are occupied mm, either with the full of delusions, like such as attachment, grasping, or anger, jealousy, ego, pride, uh, or we kind of stay empty mind. There's no sense of utilizing the potential of our mind in the cultivation of virtue. So that way, uh, our body, speech, and mind very much indulge, infused by delusion that create the negative karma. And that karma uh, will result, in the suffering of three Lord realms. Even though we do not wish to be born in three Lord realms, uh, even though we do not wish to commit negative actions, but due to delusion, but due to ignorant, due to self-grasping, ignorant and self-cherishing attitude, uh, you know, um, no question about unintentionally, but even intentionally, we commit so many actions. Knowingly, anger is um, harmful to oneself and others, but then we do express anger in our day-to-day life, towards oneself, towards others, towards situations. You see, even though we know attachment grasping is bad, harmful, but then we very much live in the service of attachment grasping, isn't it? So the heaviest influence of delusion like attachment, grasping, anger will result, ripening result in the hell realm. Then the lighter than that in the hungry ghost. Then lighter than that in animal realms. You see. So we do not wish to experience them, but it's very much like we are, we are willingly committing, those causes. You see. So, so even in the virtuous deeds, like accumulation of virtue, like such as practice of generosity, like practice of charity, practice of offering to the table gems, you know, uh, uh, by nature it is a virtue, but then um, in the name of the practice of generosity, very much that there's a root, very much influenced by ego-centered mind, um, you know, uh, you know, infused by self-centered attitudes, uh, such as outwardly concerns. It's so hard to have a absolute pure practice of virtue. So even though in the name of virtue, and even though we commit virtue, but then that virtue is very limited impact of those virtues. The benefit that we can enjoy, result of those virtue, not a liberation, very much result in the higher realm of human god and demigods, even the practice of morality, you see, even when we make auspicious aspirations, uh, but because of the influence by the root delusions, that can only result uh, within samsaric experience. Even though we born, result of them, result of those virtue, even though we take rebirth in higher realms, human and god, demigod, but it's still under the subject of pervasive compounded suffering, you see. And not only that, even in the human realm, the suffering of change that we go through is very much uh, influence of the virtuous karma to experience, certain moment of joy and pleasure in relation to the sensual joy. But then because of it lies in the nature of condemnation, it doesn't last. It turns into a void of those joy and happiness. And in most cases, it will turn into uh, uh, disappointments and suffering, the suffering of change. You see, so this is what very much means. So however you act, you seek pain and suffering. So it's like that. When we are not free from self-grasping, ignorant, and self-cherishing attitude, then our situation is like that. However you act, you seek pain and suffering. You see, so this is a very very strong message and strong teaching. The how serious needed to be mindful about our intention, at least our intention, towards cultivation of prosperity is wasted. All our effort is wasted. It's very much like we find, like mountains of diamond, but then just use as a, like a ordinary rock, build a ordinary the house, rock, ordinary bricks, like the bricks, and build a house, and oneself live in there, uh, in the poverty of not even have a proper food to eat and proper, clean water to drink and proper clothes to wear, living in poverty. You see, even though you found uh, uh, mountain like diamond or gold. You see, so Dharma is even more precious than that. Dharma is wish fulfilling of our innate aspiration, which is freedom from entire oceans of some suffering. You see, so when we find the Dharma, while we found the Dharma, then if we use the Dharma uh, with influence of inwardly concern, influence of self-cherishing and self-grasping ignorant, then is very much the example that I have given. It become like that. We continue to live in poverty from causes, freedom from suffering. You know, our cyclic existence won't be empty. You see, so we really have to check carefully. Otherwise, because life passes so fast. Days are passing so fast. Weeks are passing so fast, month passing so fast, year passing so fast. See, very much like in a minute teaching, give an example, like our life is like a heavy round rock falling from a very steep mountain, down. You know, is our life, the opportunity, the human intelligence is rapidly approaching uh, to ceasing, close to death every single day. Mm. Yeah, so like that. Uh, in the very first place, if we didn't meet Dharma, if we don't understand Dharma, if we don't have opportunity, then yes, it is very poor thing, uh, but not as poor as like ourselves who met the Dharma, but then didn't able to practice purely and didn't manage to practice purely. You know, met the perfect guru, perfect Dharma, uh, you know, perfect all the conditions to practice, but then because of being careless about our intention, uh, then that can be one of the worst cheating to yourself. So you see, so it's talking about like that. On the second line is there, whatever you do, you lose your real purpose. So yeah, that's what I said. You see, whatever you do, you lose your real purpose. You see, no question about that. If we completely live a life enduring, worldly, samsaric, sensual, material purposes, then definitely, loses our real purpose of life. You know, uh, the real purpose of life is getting fully prepared for longer journey, which is beyond after this lifetime. Since the reality is the continuum of life doesn't cease. So that not only that, the continuum, if not really prepared well, it will fall into a very suffering situation. That suffering can can encounter for eons, like such as in the hell realm. And not only that, if we are able to be fully prepared, all the paths, all the practices like merit of wisdom, which are we accumulate through cultivation of the Dharma, then uh, even within this very lifetime, that we have opportunity to become Buddha. Even just within this very lifetime, we have opportunity to free from entire the harm from delusion and karma. Mm. If not, at least when we go through the transition. If not, at least in next life. Or if not, at least uh, not taking that too long, that we will be able to be really free from entire oceans of self existence. You see. Uh, so, but the worst is that, again, like ourselves, if while we meet the perfect Dharma, complete Dharma, both Sutra and Tantra. We have the all opportunity. If someone wish to practice Vinaya, we have the full teachings of the Vinaya is available. If we wish to practice Sutra, the full complete teaching of the Sutra is available. If we wish to practice Tantra, there's a complete teachings of the Tantra is available. And all the conducive conditions to provide that is available, both from our own side as well as from the external side. Everything is absolutely there. While we are obtaining all this, then still, you know, uh, our spiritual life very much guided by delusion, very much guided by self-cherishing and self-grasping ignorant, then there won't be greater disappointment. There won't be greater cheating to our opportunity than that. You see, and that is the true losing of the real purpose of life. It's like devastating. It's like there's no greater devastating event that can take in our life than that. Because the opportunity may not come for a long time. Like when we refer to the Lamrim teaching, from the cause aspect of this precious human rebirth, even from the example aspect of this precious human rebirth, uh, even after obtaining this precious human rebirth, the duration, even after obtaining this precious human rebirth, the duration, the uncertainty of it is time, everything illustrated extremely fragile and extremely hard and extremely rare, so you see. So therefore, if we don't um, actualize, like what the Lamrim say, that full conviction, these three decisions that in Lamrim teach, the three decision, the first decision is that, that you acknowledge that I have a full potential to, actualize liberation, to practice the path, like that. The second decision is that in understanding of, in understanding of the impermanent nature of life, that I must practice now, like not waiting for tomorrow, not waiting for later. I must practice purely right now, you see. And not only that, for longer journey, only the Dharma will help, nothing else. Nothing material gain that we have. None of our, the characterized sensual creativity or the sensual awareness that we have, it doesn't, including our aggregates. You see, nothing can able to benefit us except, the cultivation of the accumulation of the pure Dharma, that will able to help us to liberate us, to free us from entire oceans of silent existent, and it is causes the karma and delusion. You see, so only when we have these three firm decision, then we can able to extract the real meaning of life. Otherwise, we may, every day, whole day, we may be, like myself, wearing robes, having the vows, uh, then, mm, or serving in the monastery, serving in the Dharma centers, or doing Dharma courses, or even doing retreats, even meditations, or even having a lot of initiations, having a lot of gurus, or even just being 24 hours with your guru. You know, uh, it is so hard for us to have a real, genuine, complete, absolute Dharma. Real Dharma, pure Dharma. Not necessarily, as long as we don't have these three decision that we have met in our heart, uh, uh, which will help us to stay away from the directions of self-grasping ignorance and self-cherishing attitude. You see, You see, so this three decision is very much like kind of opponent, opponent to the delusion. You see, it doesn't mean the delusion is purified. The delusion is not there, but it will not, these three strong mindfulness will not allow the self-grasping, ignorant, and self-cherishing attitude to uh, guide us, how to live our day-to-day life, how to you know actualize, our spiritual journey. Yeah, you see. So like that. So whatever you do, you lost your real purpose. So as long as we are under the influence of this excessive self-grasping lies at the root. So as I mentioned before, the whole reason why, whatever mentioned before, why we lose the purpose, lose our real purpose of life, why we are intentionally or unintentionally accumulating causes for pain and suffering. Why? The reason is because of we are rooted with excessive self-grasping, you see, or meaning the main guide, main driver of our day-to-day activity of our body, speech, and mind is very much self-grasping attitude. Because of that, you see. Then this is so because of inadequate forbearances and courage. Uh, um, the another reason is because of inadequate forbearances. You see, uh, um, forbearances to to have the mindfulness uh, to endure the suffering by taking the suffering, by taking samsara, by taking whatever experience comes in our way, in particular difficult situation, onto the path. Or the second, the forbearances of gathering virtues, the gathering pure dharma, you know, because of the uh, insufficient of the forbearances of gathering uh, uncontaminated dharma, pure dharma, real dharma. You see, real dharma. You see, when we talk about real dharma, dharma that which is infused by renunciation. Renunciation of what? Renunciations of delusion, renunciation of self-cherishing attitude. Here we are talking about Mahayanic Dharma, Lojong. So therefore, the renunciation has to have the element of two aspects: the renunciation from self-grasping ignorance and renunciation from self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude. The general Dharma for the three yanas, then in order to be pure Dharma, the Dharma practices has to be infused by the renunciation of self-cherishing, self-grasping attitude. You see. So in another understanding, that whatever Dharma practices we do, we need to be inspired by the wisdom of selfless and by the attitude of altruism. Yeah, you see. So what do you mean by the wisdom of selflessness? Means by aspiring the liberation from defilement, which is which is the Buddhahood of the state of cessation, that which is Buddhahood, the cessation from defilement. When we talk about aspiration, when we talk about the influence by the renunciation of altruism, the altruistic attitude, meaning you practice the Dharma by aspiring the omniscient, the perfected, compassionate attitude of the Buddha. In other words, you know, uh, the infused by the bodhicitta. You see, so as long as any practice that motivated, initiated, stay influenced, by wisdom of selfless and attitude of altruism, attitude of bodhicitta, then there's no room, there's no way to go wrong of our Dharma practices. There won't be any leakage, being our Dharma practice as a pure cause of liberation. You see, so the forbearances. So in particularly here, pure Dharma practice that we need to have the forbearances, being genuinely selfless service in the well-being of all the sentient beings. You see, so you need that forbearances. Then also the insufficient of courage. You see, insufficient of courage, courage in practice of altruism, courage in the practice of wisdom of selfless, courage in the practice, the way how the Lojong teaching, how these teachings are taught, you see, uh, because of not having courage, not having courage to, not having courage to, let go of attachment grasping about this very lifetime's purpose, not having courage, not sufficient courage to let go of attachment towards the sensual desire. We all very familiar with that, isn't it? You see, out of delusion, they destroy their own happiness as if if it were an enemy. You see, so this word of Shantideva can illustrate the whole meaning of this, verse 61, like that. So if we are really, not be mindful, uh, then it's so danger to really like wasting entire our life, just for small purposes, just for short time benefits, you know, and lose the long term, purposes and long term benefit, like that. Especially for us, who already meet the Dharma, who practice the Dharma, we really have to think serious about it, you see, think serious about it. Otherwise, uh, there's like a kind of like, there's a joke, there's just kind of saying among the monks, among the monks, if you want to be a monk, better be a real and perfect monk. If not, better, if not, then better stay as a lay person, Otherwise, you cannot enjoy the wildness of, comparing to the lay, it doesn't mean all the lay life is wild, comparing to the monastic, the restrictions, in particularly in relation to many essential activities, uh, then it's kind of, you know, you cannot achieve the benefit of staying in the restriction from the renounced environment, but at the same time you also cannot enjoy usual usual sensual activities. You see, so it's kind of saying don't be not here, not there. Be very clear. So this can relate to us. As long as we practice the Dharma, in particular practicing Mahayanic Dharma, you know, I mean, those who practice the Dharma, yes, have to be clear. And especially who practice the Mahayanic Dharma, then we have to be very clear, uh, you know, through the, um, really qualified with the characteristic of Mahayanic, which very much from the altruistic wisdom and altruistic attitude, isn't it? Something like that. So verse 62, it says, this is so, this is so because the soil of loving kindness is made barren. This is so because the root of compassion has been cut. This is so because the virtuous awakening mind is lost. This is so because of consorting with unruly negative friends. Hmm? So these are the reasons, why we are losing, why we lost our purpose of life, why we are unable to be liberated, why we are not successful in liberation, why we keep gathering samsara. One of the reason is because of, uh, we are not, uh, because we are not practicing genuinely, wholeheartedly, loving kindness, compassion, or in other words, because of not living our life with the loving kindness and compassion, yeah, uh, you know, you're not productive in loving kindness and compassion. This is so because of the root of the compassion, you know, you know, is cut out. It has been cut, meaning, mm, so this doesn't mean that the innate that we are born with, you know, the Buddha nature, the conventional Buddha nature that born with that cut off. It doesn't mean that nothing can cut off. Here, simply meaning is, you know, there's no root, there's no expressions of compassion which play as a root to all the other virtues, you know. So indirectly, you know, the another way of understanding is that if we want to make our life purposeful, if we want to achieve the purpose of liberation, then most important thing that we should develop the root, which is means develop compassion. You see, so we should focus on strengthening the compassion. When you strengthen the root, then the rest of the branches and the leaves will come out, isn't it? Mm, mm. This is so because you see, so mm, uh, mm, so there was, you know, in the middle way, um, emphasize compassion as you know, as important as uh, is a uh, it's like a ground, you know, or it's like a root. Then at the beginning, at the middle, it's like a water, like a manure. You know, at the end, it is like a fruit. You see, so when the element of compassion is missing in any form of Dharma practices, then the our spiritual practice cannot be developed. Mm. So this is so because virtuous awakening mind is lost. So you know, uh, the altruistic, the attitude, you know, altruistic motivation is lost. You see, altruistic influence in our action is lost. You see, altruistic dedications of our life is lost because of that. This is so because of mm, consorting with unruly and negative friends. And one of the very important factor of important factor to you know, to live a life meaningless, or to gather more samsara, is very much due to the environmental, you know, condition, like such as negative friends. You see, negative friends. So we have discussed that before. You know what, you know, what it mean by negative friends. You know, negative friends. Uh, there's inner negative friends and outer conventional, you know, negative friends. Inner, then the negative environment that comes to place, that come to people, the inner negative friends, like such as like distractions, such as laziness. uh, 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 so these are distraction. These are the negative friend, inner negative friend. The outer negative friends are those, you know, people that who discourage you, or who distract you from learning, cultivation, and living in the practice. You know, as a sangha, then anyone that who distract you living in the vow, those are negative friend. You know, anyone that who causing you to disrupt, those are negative friends. You see, uh, uh, um, like like such teaching, like 37 practice of Bodhisattva, you know, talks about the negative friend in relation to even home, you know, even our family members. You see, like giving up homeland, you know, uh, because there there's a danger of, you know, if you are not careful, for this very much talking about the beginner, for beginner, if you are not careful, even your home and even your family member can be a distraction to your practice. You know, of course, this does not apply to everyone. You know, some very fragile practitioner, then you live in the homeland, you live with a family, then very much, kind of uh, live with, partial, caught up life with partial attitude, you know, protecting loved one with attachment and um, uh, preventing, enemies with aversion, etc., etc. You see, uh, so you see, so it's for Mahayanic Dharma practitioner, anyone that who distract you from cultivation of unconditional love, you know, uh, a great compassion, live in altruism. Those are negative friend, see. So sometimes people, they don't mean bad. This is what they believe, and they comes and tell us, you shouldn't think of the benefit of all beings. You should think of yourself. You should think of your own benefit. You should think of only your own family's benefit. You shouldn't think of the benefit of those neighbors. You shouldn't think of the benefit of the rest of the animals. Some people, it doesn't mean bad. They just they have that kind of philosophy. They have that kind of thinking, and they comes to tell you, and you also kind of believe in that and follow that. uh, it's very much like you falls into the trap of negative friends, you see. So like that, so we have to be careful about that. So those are the like um, uh, indulging and accompany um, with negative friends, then that will make our life meaningless, and that will gather more samsara, you see. So like that. So someone that who already matured in practice, then the real negative friend is only our delusion, no external, no external negative friends, you see. In particularly for Mahayanic Dharma practitioner, Mahayana, both Sutra and Tantra, Mahayanic Dharma practitioner, in particularly Lojong Dharma practitioner, then there's no external negative friends. You know, every places, every people are opportunity to cultivate the Lojong, opportunity to cultivate the path. You see, the only negative friend is your own unpurified negative emotion. Uh, you see, so whenever we associate with the negative emotion, we are associating with negative friend. You see, so even when we associate with non-believer, even when we associate with someone that who against the Dharma practice, but as long as our heart is free from the influence of delusion and equipped with the resistance, the iman of wisdom, a wisdom of discrimination, what to be adopted and what to be abandoned, and the attitude of genuine loving kindness, compassion, then even someone who comes against the Dharma, you know, you it strengthens your practice. You know, especially if someone who don't believe in Dharma, let's say, could be your companion, who don't believe in Dharma, or who worse, who may even, who don't believe in Dharma. In some case, who may against you practicing Dharma, but because of you have the immunity of wisdom and attitude of altruism. It helps to strengthen your practice. It has to strengthen your practice, like practice like such as practice of forgiveness for the disturbances, practice of compassion. Knowing that the person have no path to liberation. The person is completely enveloped with the delusion, enveloped with ignorant. you know Not only himself or herself enveloped with the delusion, but even try to influence me in that. you know so therefore, he or she is the central object for me to practice even harder and dedicate to liberate that person. Is a dedicated to liberate that person, you see. uh, like how Buddha would liberate us by providing Dharma, by living, by being himself the example of path, example of the door to the path, example of the cessation of the path. You know, you see. So yourself be the example of what Dharma is to that person who don't believe in Dharma or even who against the Dharma. You know, you be the example. You see, whether it's believer or not, uh, whoever it is, everybody appreciate genuine peace, genuine expressions of love, genuine expressions of compassion, genuine expressions of kindness, genuine expression of understanding, genuine expressions of love, respect, and the smile and the sweet word, kind words, you see. So whenever that person, especially it can be your children, it can be your parent, it can be your partner, whenever that comes against you, whenever that, or not even, or just simply ignore you, yeah, their words is against you, prevent you from practicing Dharma, then you live in the life of with all the quality that I mentioned. Naturally, that person will be attracted to that. You know, you see, even in the very negative situation, that you becomes you you are truly undisturbed because you have a full of practice of patience. You know, uh, and even in the difficult situation that everyone against you, that you have these forbearances, you see, practice of forgiveness, etc. You see, so anyone anyone will love it. Anyone will be attracted to it, and that way, even the non-believer, uh, even someone who against the Dharma, uh, just matter of time, eventually may follow your path. May not kind of change their kind of like taking refuge, etc. But their heart may change to follow in the practice of love, kindness, compassion. All the Bodhisattvas qualities. They will adopt it. You see, this is exactly what Guru Shakyamuni Buddha did to us. You see, and this the teaching that we are learning is the way how he's liberating us. You know, Hmm? You see, and most importantly, uh, himself, uh, living in the path and actualizing the result of the path. That really gives us full confidence uh, that if we practice accordingly what Buddha showed us, definitely result is possible. You see, so similar way, how our teacher illustrate to us, we disciple have to follow their footstep. We have to practice in our very best ability, because this is the only way that we can become just like the gurus. We can become just like the Buddhas. By initially we at least imitate to be like them. You know, like create ourselves. By really practicing. Create ourselves to behave like them, think like them. And through much habituation, eventually it becomes spontaneous in us, and that becomes the realization of path in us. When that realization of path uh, perfected, then we achieve the state of the practice of perfection, like such as six perfection, like 10 perfections, etc., etc. And that is a state of full enlightenment. You see, like that. You see, Buddha himself also follow like that in relation to all the past Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So similar to ourselves, we also follow the same way like that. You see. Yeah, so therefore, Mayanic Dharma practitioner, Lojong Dharma practitioner, then there's no outer negative friends, only our inner negative friends, you see. So therefore, we have no kind of complaint saying that, oh, this is not a right place to practice. or this is not a right time to practice, or this is not a right people to, practice with, you know. So for Lojong practitioner, Mayani practitioner, we have to be free from these excuses, Yeah, you see, uh, in particularly, practitioner who follow Lojong, Lojong Dharma, like the Kadamba masters of practice, then all this barrier has to be cleared, you know. Then there we can really able to take essence of our life, meaning of our life, purpose of our life in every situation. Like, there are plenty of teaching, all these other teaching, taking every experiences, on the path to enlightenment. Okay, then verse 63. All these are now things of the past. The path lost must now be offered to those above. From here on, you place high hopes in no one. Locate not your needs either within or without. Mm? So, mm, up to now, we definitely has been living under the uh, control of false views and the false attitude, So all these are now things of the past. You see, um, in the past, many of the Lojong teaching discuss about how much self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude torture us, make us to suffer from beginningless life up to now. You see, now I understood exactly the true face of your delusions. You know, you self-grasping ego. You self-cherishing mind. You see, so here, then all these are now things of the past. You see, so I'm going to be completely new person. You know, uh, who is completely in true spiritual journey, true spiritual practitioner, true Dharma practitioner. Meaning that you know uh, from now on, that completely opposite to our past attitude, that you hold others more dear than yourself. Uh, uh, you see, you see the void of, you know, uh, grasping of independent I and phenomena uh, uh, more than, more than the self-grasping, more than the grasping attitude of independent I and things and events. From now on, that a person regarding future lifetimes benefit is more uh, uh, mm, taking mm, altruistic dharma as a central of my path. Mm? See, by overcoming, by letting go of the things of the past, and like that. The path lost must now be offered to those above. You see, so whoever, you see, not only to yourself, you yourself practice like that, and you be the cause and condition also to offer the similar kind of, uh, the part of altruism, part of virtue and altruism to others that who also similar like oneself have lost from beginningless lifetime, meaning the rest of the numberless sentient beings who are equally lost like myself from beginningless lifetime, whose life has been under fully control of wrong view and wrong attitudes. You see, so by starting by myself, living in the practice of altruism, then I be the cause and condition, as I mentioned before, becoming an example, starting from your own partners, your own children, your own family members, you see. From now on, uh, becoming more patient person. From now on, becoming less angry person. From now on, becoming more loving person. From now on, becoming less grasping person. From now on, being more happy person, more inner peace person. You see, more settled, more tranquil, more settled person. You know, from now on, less distracted by the attachment grasping of material things, sensual pleasures, you know very much kind of uh, very much kind of sustained by the inner bliss, inner joy, inner peace of contentment, inner peace, inner joy from letting go of attachment grasping to things and events. You see, you see, uh, from now on, being friend with everybody, everyone, being close, bring, uh, uh, being close and being friendly, being friendly, being nice to everyone, but not attached to anyone. You see, uh, you see. Hmm? So from now on, you know, not kind of instant reaction to any situation comes in our way. You see, if any uh, karma falls in our way with the problems, external problem, emotional problem, from now on, you know, we always give a kind of space in our mind to re-examine, design, give a moment uh, to redesign how to approach the experiences, not like in the past, instant reaction. You see, instant reaction. That's how that our false view, hallucinational view used to react. Then exaggerate. Even it's even minor suffering, minor problem, it magnifies huge problem. You see, you know, minor misunderstanding magnify the huge misunderstanding. Minor depression, make it huge depression. Minor incident make it a huge hoo-ha, huge reason of anger. you know it's a minor thing that it's like kind of really can't let go, you know really hold so hard and bring so much tension, so much suffocation in our heart. You see from now on, you see, like, deal everything with its own pace of its nature, which is come and go. you know you see, come and go. That is the nature. Anything that comes in your way, everything will go eventually. You see, so anything that comes in your way, you appreciate, but when the time is leaving, you know you have the courage to let go. You see, including our own body, including our possessions, including our loved ones, including this life. since it is it lies in the nature of impermanent. It came, the nature it will go, just a matter of time. You see, and not like in the past, you know not like in the past, like the way how self-grasping, ignorant, and self-cherishing attitude would do is always grasp and live in the past, and grasp and live in the future, and completely ignore the present moment. Completely ignore the present moment. You see, completely ignore our basic nature, the basic awareness, completely ignore our basic awareness of being aware in the present moment without kind of stopping from function of its nature, which we used to do. Even though it's impermanent, changeable nature, we try to stop as if that you should be permanent. You should be the way how I want, the way it has to be. Normal like that from now on. Normal. You see, just be aware, coming and going. Everything. You know, everything. Um, how to say? Welcome with acceptance. Everything welcome with acceptance. Hmm? You see, then since everything is interdependent arising, if any good thing that comes in our way, by nature it is will depart. But because of interdependent arising, as long as you create aspiration, positive aspiration, things will never go away from us. You know, the momentary is change, but then when the causes and conditions